Ever felt like your emotions are driving the car while you're just a passenger? One insult and you're spiraling. One craving, and discipline melts like butter. What if I told you that 2,000 years ago, a group of thinkers had already solved this? They were warriors, emperors, slaves, and philosophers. They lived hard lives, but developed unshakable self-control. Welcome to the Soft Discipline, where we turn self-improvement into a system. Today, we're diving into every Stoic principle that can help you gain mental mastery in a world designed to distract you. And the best part? These aren't abstract ideas. These are real-life tools. You can use them today. Dichotomy of Control. Control what's yours. You can't control the traffic. You can't control what your boss thinks of you. You can't even control whether it rains on your one day off. But what you can control, your effort, your reaction, your mindset. That's the Stoic starting point. The moment you realize most of your stress isn't from the situation itself, but from trying to control things you never had power over. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." That's it. That's the formula. When you live in alignment with this truth, you stop fighting reality and start mastering your response. This one principle, it doesn't just reduce anxiety, it activates control where it matters most, inside. Delay the reaction. Pause before responding. Have you ever fired off a text in anger, only to regret it 5 minutes later? Yeah, we all have. But the Stoics had a fix. They believed that between stimulus and response, there is a moment, a pause. And in that pause, freedom. Freedom to respond, not react. Freedom to reflect, not explode. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Like a cup of muddy water, clarity comes when you let it sit." When you pause, just for a few seconds, you give your wiser self a chance to speak. And that's where true self-control lives, in the space between impulse and action. Voluntary discomfort. Train with hardship. Why would a rich man like Seneca choose to sleep on the floor? Why would he fast for days and wear ragged clothes? Because comfort makes us soft, and hardship makes us sharp. He called it rehearsing poverty, practicing difficulty, not out of punishment, but preparation. See, when you deliberately embrace discomfort, you're training your nervous system. You're teaching it. I don't break when things get hard. I'm ready for this. Cold showers, fasting, discipline in the gym, discipline in your inbox. These aren't acts of self-denial, they're acts of self-mastery. Premeditatio Malorum. Expect the worst. Sounds dark, doesn't it? Why would you imagine bad things happening? On purpose. But here's the catch, you already imagine worst-case scenarios all the time. The difference? You do it unconsciously. With anxiety, with panic. The Stoics flipped the script. They visualized what could go wrong intentionally to prepare themselves emotionally and mentally. It's called Premeditatio Malorum, or premeditation of evils. Seneca would ask, what's the worst that could happen? Not to dwell, but to prepare. Not to fear, but to fortify. So when life does throw a punch, you don't fall. You nod and say, I saw you coming. View from above. Zoom out perspective. Ever noticed how tiny your problems feel when you look out over the ocean? Or when you stare at the stars? That's the Stoic technique known as the view from above. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, would remind himself of how small he really was. A man, in a city, on a planet, in a universe beyond comprehension. That perspective shrinks ego, shrinks drama, shrinks the lie that everything happening to you is the end of the world. It's not. When you zoom out, your problems lose weight, your emotions get space, and self-control, it returns like a tide. Memento Mori. Remember you die. Let's get uncomfortable for a second. You're going to die. So am I. So is everyone you've ever loved. Now before that thought spirals into existential dread, pause. Because to the Stoics this wasn't fear, it was fuel. Memento Mori, remember you will die, wasn't meant to depress you, it was meant to wake you up. When you realize you're not guaranteed tomorrow, every action gains urgency. Every wasted hour becomes a tragedy. And every little irritation, suddenly not worth it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Remembering your mortality isn't morbid, it's motivating. Because once you realize time is limited, you stop wasting it. Amor Fati. Love your fate. Life doesn't ask you for permission before handing you pain. It just shows up, like a storm, like a breakup, like a diagnosis, and asks, what now? Most people resist it, fight it, curse their luck. But the Stoic says, love it anyway. Amor Fati. Love your fate, not just accept it, not tolerate it, love it. Because everything life throws at you, good or bad, is material for growth. It's clay in your hands. You lost that job? Good. Now you build a stronger version of yourself. Your plans fell apart? Great. A chance to prove your flexibility. Amor Fati is radical self-control. It means nothing breaks you because you turn it into power. This is what we're all about here on the Soft Discipline. Not vague motivation, but mindset tools you can actually use. At work, at home, when things get messy. If you're still with me, you're already doing the hard part, staying focused. Timebox Emotions. Feel, then release. Emotions are like guests. They come in fast, loud, demanding. And if you're not careful, they move in and take over the place. Stoics didn't suppress emotions. They just didn't let them overstay. When you're angry, don't bottle it up. But don't feed it either. Acknowledge it. Understand it. Then, let it go. Think of it like time boxing for your soul. You feel the feeling, but on your terms, with boundaries, with intention. Self-control isn't being numb. It's being emotionally literate. You don't bury your feelings. You outgrow their control. Envision the Sage. Channel the wise. Let's say you're in the middle of a heated argument. You want to win. You want to say that thing that'll sting. But instead, you pause and ask, what would the sage do? This isn't just a question, it's a mindset. The Stoics trained themselves to model the ideal version of a wise person. Someone calm, fair, composed, strong. In your life, that sage might be a mentor, a future version of yourself, or someone you deeply respect. When you act like they're watching, you rise to their level. That's the power of imagining a higher standard. You stop reacting, you start leading yourself. Use adversity as training. Grow through challenges. Life is going to punch you. That's not a threat, that's a guarantee. But the Stoic doesn't see adversity as punishment. They see it as training. Epictetus, who was literally born into slavery, said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are. So next time life tests you, don't flinch. Don't say, why me? Say, this is a rep. This is my resistance band. This is where I grow." Your hardship isn't the end of the story. It's the gym where self-control is built. Keep desires in check. Want less, need less. Modern life runs on cravings. More money, more likes, more validation. More coffee, more sugar, more dopamine. But the Stoics? They saw through it. To them, the goal wasn't to have everything. It was to desire less and need almost nothing. Epictetus said, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it." You don't have to renounce the world. You just have to stop being its puppet. The less you need, the more you're free. Because when you're not ruled by craving, you're ruled by clarity. Journaling. Audit yourself. Let's talk about the simplest tool the Stoics ever used, a notebook. Not for your to-do list, not for goals, but for your soul. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal, which we now call Meditations. He wasn't trying to publish a bestseller. He was just checking in with himself. What did I do well today? Where did I slip up? What did I let control me that shouldn't have? This is how Stoics sharpened their awareness, by holding a mirror up to their inner world. Journaling isn't just reflection, it's self-mastery in ink. Inner fortress. Build mental walls. You can't always control the storm, but you can build a shelter strong enough to withstand it. That's your inner fortress. To the Stoics, peace wasn't found in isolation. It was found in building a space inside you, calm, still, untouchable. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel. When the world is yelling, collapsing, competing, or tempting, you return to that space, and from there, you operate with clarity. Self-control doesn't mean avoiding the world. It means standing unmoved in the middle of it. If these first 13 principles spoke to you, don't stop here. Part 2 goes even deeper, into how we master impulse, emotion, and ego. So if you like this video, hit subscribe and stick with the Soft Discipline, where we build real habits that actually last. Comment part 2 and let me know how many of you are really interested in self-mastery.